It all really started for me when I was watching Formula One in 2021. I'd seen racing before. I think the first session I ever watched was qualifying at Suzuka in 2019. But something about that season, about being that close to the edge,
He's going to make the lunge down the inside.
just it was very different to me, and I felt completely addicted straight away. I used to sit there watching live timings on my phone because I couldn't watch the broadcasts, and of course they were always at the worst time for a Year 8 student, but I didn't care. I loved it. So naturally, I learned about karting, and I asked my dad if he could help me start, but I mean, a 10 grand price tag for a 13-year-old to wobble around, fair enough that the response was a no. So I accepted it. But as I got older, I got more knowledgeable and a lot more competitive. Around this time, a mate of mine introduced me to league racing on the F1 games, and I was instantly hooked. I started on a controller, sitting in front of my living room TV, but when I turned 15, my parents bought me the absolute peak of sim racing, a Logitech G920, and I think I drove more that month than I slept, and it was so much fun. I climbed from the bottom of the leagues I was doing.
That's 2 weeks in a row. Sea Lion has won.
Right to the top in the span of about 6 months, and I got accused of sandbagging and account sharing, but for the first time I actually felt good at something, and that was really, really different to anything I've experienced. So that same year, I started looking into real karting again. I did the research, I showed my parents everything, and I got told no again. It was just too expensive. So I got a job, 6 months of delivering pizzas on crappy e-bikes and saving every dollar while just dreaming of driving. And it was around that time that I discovered iRacing. I saw people like Jarno Opmeer and Swelio Almeida, and I realized how much more track time I could get. So that led me to the decision to buy a bunch of Fanatec gear, build myself a new rig, and start taking this seriously. But after a few months, I really just felt like I couldn't get any further. Like there was no way to get to the next level without being there already. So it really fed back into the thought that only people with connections and money and an actual talent could achieve what I wanted to. So I stopped. I quit my Domino's job, and I spent a month away from the sim because I was just absolutely convinced I'd done everything I could to make racing work out. But even then I just still didn't feel right. So I pivoted to engineering. I figured I could focus on the physics side of racing and it'd be just as good. So I reached out to 888 Race Engineering for some work experience, and I got a polite no, but then I found Team Arrow, a solar car team in Brisbane, and that just changed everything for me. So I got to design chassis and suspension components, work on vehicle dynamics, and learn from some insanely smart people. And it honestly kicked me back into that competitive mindset and made me realize something really big. Because when I talked to most of the engineers there, when I saw interviews with world-renowned designers, they all said the same thing. They enjoyed the design side a lot more than the driving, and that just doesn't resonate with me. So I decided to go back to the sim and focus on a car I actually enjoyed driving, which was the Super Formula Lights. That week's race was at Sebring, so I entered about 10 races that week. I went up against Pepe Marti, Marcel Kiefer, even a USF 2000 driver called G3. I still talk to him. And I held my own. So with that confidence boost, I joined a league called the GSRC. And at Suzuka, my very first round, I qualified 5th. Made a couple moves on the first lap to get up to 3rd. Eventually got to 2nd, and then I took the lead, and I held it.
Talk about arriving in style. Mark Hili in his debut wins the 2nd of the Enduro rounds at Suzuka.
And that race changed everything for me. I was invited to join a team full of experienced, welcoming drivers. And after a little more work, I got invited to join Orbit Drop Bear Motorsports. And from there, I've just kept improving. I joined the biggest league in Oceania for the Super Formula Lights.
It's a very easy-looking victory. It's Mark Hili who wins here at Imola.
And I went from the midfield to a championship winner.
Mark Hili's going to come across the line. He will be the champion of the Player One Sim Gear Super Formula Lights Championship.
In that time, I got another job to fund my next step, and with help from Brisbane Karts, I finally bought my first kart. So that's where I am now. I'm racing, studying, designing and learning, and I'm loving every second of it. But racing is expensive. F4 is over $250,000 in Australia, and any national championship like the 86s or Formula Ford or even karting is going to set me back a lot more than $100,000. So right now my goal is just to become a front runner in karting, and over the next year be capable of winning any races in the state and national titles. If that's possible, I don't even know where I want to end up. There's so many what ifs and possibilities, but I believe I can do this. Every time I've doubted myself, I've proven myself wrong, and I believe that won't stop. So I want to document this, to show that it's not about talent or money or connections, and see how far I can get. 4 years ago, I was just a kid watching timing screens on his phone, but after a lot of doubt and effort, I'm living it. I am Mark Hili. Is this tough or what?